In 2026, the Pac-12 will have just 7 teams, the AAC 14. But when it comes to football brand power, who actually comes out on top? I dug into the Winsipedia Blue Blood rankings and ESPN's FPI rankings, and the numbers tell a shockingly one-sided story. Who has better football brands? Who's the better football conference between the Pac-12 and its future iteration in 2026, so 7 teams overall, and the AAC, the American Athletic Conference, with 14 total teams right now in its makeup? We're going to look at 2 things, categories, to see who's got the best football brands and who's the best conference. First off, we're going to look at football history, and this information's taken from Winsipedia. It's called the Blue Blood rank, their overall composite score. It factors in about 10 to 20 different football stat dynamics, metrics that go into an overall model to tell you, based on the history of college football, it's not weighted at all more recently, just the history, who has the best football programs. That's going to be half of what we're doing here. Then the next piece of it, the other half, is going to be a 3-year ESPN Football Power Index, FPI, ranking for each one of these schools in the Pac-12 and in the American Conference. So let's look exactly how football history for the Winsipedia Blue Blood rank shows out. Well, that's a bit of a surprise. Number 1 in football history, according to Winsipedia in their Blue Blood rank, is Army. And Army is a historically great football program back in the early days of college football. More recently, they've had some good teams over the last year or 2, but they had a long down period where Army really struggled in football. But nevertheless, based on the history of Army football, they show out as number 1 with a 43 average rank in the Winsipedia ranking model. Number 2, this ain't a surprise to anybody, is Boise State Broncos. Let's go. Number 51 overall. Boise State, with all their more recent success since they moved up to the power status, really, and they're going to be in the Pac-12 in 2026. They're currently in the Mountain West Conference. So playoff last year, excellent job, Boise State. But interestingly, Fresno State is tied with Boise State at 51 on the average Winsipedia rank. Fresno State's had a lot of great football teams over the years. I can think of Derek Carr, the Carr brothers playing at Fresno State and just balling out over there. Great players come through, and no surprise that they're ranked high. Navy shows out with the 52 average ranking. Hey, they've got a lot of football history, especially in the early days of football, like Army. And then you're getting schools like Tulsa. Tulsa is a school that doesn't really get talked about a lot as far as football history goes, been down more recently, but had great football success in the past. San Diego State, and then Oregon State and Wazoo, Tulane, Memphis. And if we follow it down to number 21, Charlotte. Charlotte is the 102nd best on average with the average football rank. Ouch. Half the model's going into football history here. Yes, you'll say WildUte, but this information's so old. Army shouldn't be number 43. Army's football struggled. Navy shouldn't be this high. Navy football struggles now. Let's look at something more recent. Exactly. I do agree with you. And half of this analysis is actually more recent, from 2022 through 2024, the ESPN FPI Football Power Index. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Subscribe now so you don't flunk your next in-depth stats analysis and realignment course. Ace your college football game with me as your professor. Now, what we've done here is averaged the FPI over the 3 years, and this is the average score for FPI for each one of these schools. So the best football program actually over the last 3 years on average per FPI has been Tulane. The Green Wave have been the best out of all 21 schools we're looking at, 7 in the new version of the Pac-12 and 14 and the American. That's a bit of a shock. Would have thought that Boise State or Oregon State would have taken that crown. Nevertheless, number 2 on the list, Boise State, of course, college football playoff berth, blue turf baby. We all know about Boise State football. Oregon State shakes at number 3, number 4, Memphis, Wazoo, and number 5 with Fresno State at 6. So look right now at all of the schools that are showing out in the top 10 here. There is a common theme that you will start noticing. They're concentrated largely into one conference: Boise State, Oregon State, Washington State, Fresno State. A lot of those schools are in the Pac-12 conference. So when you actually mold these two pieces of information together, the football history blue blood rankings and this ESPN FPI on football success over the last 3 years, your overall scores, number 1. So the best football brand in either the Pac-12 or the American is the Boise State Broncos. We're talking strictly football. We're not talking about viewership. We're not talking about attendance here. We're just talking about on-field history, performance, results. Boise State is your best football program. Oregon State is number 2. And believe it or not, Army, with their really good season last year and their history, shows out number 3 on this list, with Fresno State is 4, Tulane is 5, Washington State 6, and Memphis 7, Navy 8. Memphis is down a little bit more than I thought they would be. And one of the other huge shocks, at least to me looking at this, is USF. Would have thought USF would have showed out definitely in the top 10. Number 15 out of 21 schools. That is a bit of a shocker. So not great from the Bulls of USF, at least on these metrics on on-field performance. But you can see here the theme is actually showing out again. There is a lot of Pac-12 schools that are really, really good at football. When you compare them to American schools, they're actually showing out better as far as these metrics that we're looking at. Okay, so which of these two conferences is a stronger football conference? Who has the best football brands based on on-field results? It's the Pac-12. There's only 7 schools in the Pac-12 versus the 14 in the American, but the quality of each one of the schools is better than the American. And if you're going to do a comparison of both, your average school, so your average of the 7 schools in the Pac-12 is actually 42% better based on these metrics we've looked at than the average school of the 14 in the American Conference. That just tells you that the Pac-12 has good quality programs. While there's not a lot of them, they've got solid quality. The Pac-12 is the best G6 level conference, and it will continue being that way. No matter who they add, they do need an 8th member. It's probably going to be Texas State. Still, the Pac-12 will remain the best G6 conference as far as on-field results in football. So even with just 7 teams, the Pac-12's brand power still holds strong, much stronger than the AAC's. If you're into data-driven analytics, rankings, and realignment talk, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Class is dismissed.